Hello everyone. Today we are going to start a new chapter from Flamingo book, The Rattrap by Salma Lagerlof. So student, today's story of The Rattrap by Salma Lagerlof. Actually in your mind there is a doubt. What could be the story? What's the meaning of here Rattrap? As the author Salma Lagerlof, she selected here. Basically the story is of the essential goodness in a human being can be awakened through love, respect, kindness, and understanding. We all know that simply when a person, whether he is a criminal or going into the wrong direction, we can improve in him a goodness through love, respect, kindness, and understanding. Whether these things here are helpful in just improving the person's life or not, we'll see in this chapter. Because somewhere this chapter also has a theme of this one as essential goodness in a human being can be awakened through love, respect, kindness, and understanding. So let's start the story. First of all, we'll discuss about the author Salma Lagerlof. She wrote prolifically with her children's book, The Wonderful Adventures of Niels. Students, there is a word Niels, and this particular character she also selected here in this story too. We'll see here a character by the name of Niels Olof. Okay, becoming especially popular and also became an outspoken member of the women's suffrage movement in Sweden. In 1909, she became the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. So this was the life journey of Salma Lagerlof. Now see the story, and before starting there is a line. Now I am going to tell you, Mr. and Master, how things are. The whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but a cheese, rents, and bits of pork set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. These words actually spoken here, the Rattrap paddler, a character of the story. You can say the protagonist of the story. Now protagonist here just going to explain his own situations, what happened with him. Now I am going to tell you, Mr. and Master, the other character of the story, how things are happened to me. Now here you are seeing here, there is some flowchart. There is a flowchart. You can see that. Simply there is described about the human being, and the human being, there is a circle, and in that circle there are some mentioned some qualities. Actually these are the materialistic things, materialistic world in which a human being just encircled, and all the land, seas, cities, and villages, all these things are filled with these greed, avarice, anger, jealousy, hunger, cloth, shelter, craving, ambition, money, etc. Such type of materialistic worlds, and we people just encircled in all the things, and one day we found ourselves where? Caught in the rat trap. So we'll understand actually what's the meaning of the rat trap paddler here. So see the story. As there is a scene, you can see here given a rat who is trapped here, but they are also spread. These are the materialistic things, materialistic worlds that we have discussed here right now. Happiness this way, we all know that we are just thinking that this way as we are going, we are just having happiness. But actually what we just find, we are not finding happiness. No, we are just going to trap into that rat trap. Okay, so first of all discuss the characters are here. A paddler with rat traps, an old man, crofter, a small tenant, farmer. He is crofter means small tenant, farmer. Master smith in Ramazo iron mill in Sweden, helpers in the mill, blacksmiths, and iron mill owner, and the last one Adla Wilmanson, daughter of the iron mill owner. So these are the characters. Now let's see into the story. First of all, today we will cover the story from the pages number 32 to 34. So as the story starts, this has a line, once upon a time. We all know that this is not a actual, this is just like a fairy tale. as Salma Lagerlof described here, the story is like a fairy tale. And somewhere this particular line, once upon a time, it's an irony also too here into the life of this person, the paddler. The paddler who is also known as the Rattrap, seller, tramp, vagabond, stranger, because he has the different names. But particularly, he doesn't have any name. The people used to call him by the name of Rattrap, seller, tramp, vagabond, stranger, the paddler, and so on. Why? Because he was poverty stricken and he had the life he was surviving in. He had the rag cloths, his just cheeks were sunken down, his eyes were just gleaming by the hunger, and that shows he is here pathetic conditions. He was begging, that was his job, begging, petty thieveries, and making and selling rat traps. So this is the main feature, this is the main character of our protagonist, the paddler. Okay. After that, the paddler's lifestyle. The paddler here described here, he has a vagabond life, and usually he is just going to sell the small rat traps of wires, and he just met the rat traps of wire through just by collecting to the iron bars from the nearby iron mills. And the story is of Sweden story. So nearby there were so many iron mills, and from there the vagabond used to collect the iron wire and met them rat traps. He met them at the odd moments. Odd moments, it means a short period of free time. He collect materials by begging in the stores or at the big farms. The business was not profitable. Actually, his business of selling the rat traps of wire was not so profitable to keep his body and soul together. It means to survive. But for surviving, he had to resort both begging and petty thievery. So sometimes he commits thieveries too. His pathetic conditions, the clothes were ragged, cheeks were sunken, hunger gleamed in his eyes, all we have discussed here. So students, I hope you understood about the paddler's lifestyle. And now there comes a question by these lines here. What did the paddler do to make a living? Why did he resort to begging and thievery both? Okay. After that, there is a philosophical view of the paddler, because the paddler, as usually while selling the rat traps of wire, one day we all know that his life was not very happy. His life was filled with the sad and monotonous life. He plods along the road in his own meditation, and one day what did he think? Just had a line of thought. It means here, though he was physically unfit and economically poor, but he had the thinking power. He just thought that the whole world about him with its lands and seas, cities and villages was nothing but a big rat trap. All these things are just depicting of the materialistic worlds that we had discussed here. The whole world is just made of the lands, the seas, cities, villages. They are nothing, just a big rat trap. And they set bets for people. Like as to catch a rat, we used to put a bat in the form of cheese or pork into that rat trap. So these are the somewhere bats for people, offered riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing. And the rat trap also offered cheese and pork. So the world is like a rat trap, and all these things are comparing to the cheese and pork. When anyone tempted to or touch them, that means your bats, those bats get closed and everything came to an end in his life. It means he just found himself completely caught into that rat trap. So this was his philosophical view of the life. He just thought that this complete world is a rat trap, and we people just encircling about all these materialistic things, and one day we will be also caught into that rat trap. So how do you come to know that the paddler was a pessimist? Because here his views of pessimistic views, he's not believing on the other things, he's just having his own views, his own ideas, and totally he was thinking as a pessimistic. Okay. So further, the people's views regarding to the paddler. We all know that the people's views regarding to the paddler was not very well. No one shows pity on him. The complete year he used to roam into the streets. He had no home and nobody gives him the shelter too also. So the paddler had a worse feeling to the people and the society. He found Rattrap selling at a happy pastime for him. So he just also thought that greediness and human follies, the people to be caught or circling around the bed. He also thought that the people are just circling about, they are just running into their greediness and they are also just going into that human follies. So the peoples, they are not showing their good views towards the paddler, the rat trap seller, and that's why he had the idea of the world is a rat trap, and we people are just circling around them. How was the world's people's views towards the paddler? So, student, you are to define here about the world's and people's views towards the paddler. Okay. Further, the paddler, as usually he was going to sell the rat traps of wire. One day he was discarded. We know that paddler was discarded by everyone. Just used to ask shelter for the night. And this is the time of December, late December, and we all know that there is a too much of winter. So he would just ask shelter for the night. Everyone, every door, he just went there and asked shelter for the night, but nobody welcomed him. No. Suddenly he just reached at the cottage, and there was an owner was of that cottage. He was an old man and also alone. The old man was happy to find. He just welcomed him, and he was happy to find someone to remove his loneliness, because he was also living there alone. Nobody was his there. He was living alone there. So he just found someone to remove his loneliness. Generosity. He shows his generosity of the old man. How? Firstly, he just welcomed the paddler heartily. He cooked evening meal, served him supper. Supper means the last meal of the day. Offered him a big slice of tobacco and also played Mazzoli's game with him. So all these things somewhere showed his generosity to the paddler. And also the old man explained his past life. He just said that he was a crafter at Ramajo Iron Workshop, and that shows his richness. But right now, due to his old age, he left the job and he had only source of income, that's his cow, Boshi cow. And she could give milk for the creamery, and by that his life is going on. Last month he earned 30 kroners, that also he showed him. And just he also just has the trusty nature towards the guest. That's why he just showed him the 30 kroners. But what about of the paddler or paddler's view regarding to this old man? We'll see here. But before this, there is a question. Which act of the crafter surprised the paddler and why? We all know that everyone in the world, nobody welcomed him on that chilly winter season. He was discarded by everyone, and one day at that time a person welcomed him and offered him such things. So those things are somewhere surprise to the paddler. Okay. Now here the paddler shows his dishonesty, because the next day, as the crafter went to milk his cow and the guest went on his way, but somewhere the paddler, the guest, he was just thinking of making fraud to this old man. He returned to the crafter's door, smashed the window pane, and stole the money crafter saving, the 30 kroners that he had sold him, and went on his way. That shows his dishonesty. As meanwhile, we all know that his own philosophical view of the world. He has already explained that the complete world, all these things are there. They are the materialistic things. They are the bads. And now somewhere he is also going to catch this bad too. So whether he will be caught into the world's rat trap or not, we'll see here. Okay. But before that, how and why did the paddler deceive his host, the old crafter? Okay. So further, the paddler caught into the rat trap. He himself caught into the rat trap after stealing the crafter's money. The paddler was pleased on his smartness. He thought that he was a very smart and very cunning. He dared not to select the public highway. He turned off the road, thinking that if he would select the road of the public highway, sure there would be police and he would arrest them. So he turned off the road into the woods, just selected the path of forest, and the forest was big and confusing. The paddler lost the track and found himself to be caught into the rat trap. At last, because wherever he was going, he was coming on the same spot. That's why he found himself completely caught into the rat trap. And the forest is like an impenetrable prison to him. So he just found himself into his own ideas, into his own views. So what made the paddler think that he had indeed fallen into a rat trap? So friends, today we just covered the story. Okay, the next part we'll see into the next module. Till then, there are some questions you have to solve. How did the paddler feel after robbing the crafter? What course did he adopt and how did he react to the new situation? What does his reaction reveal? So, firstly, you all know that the paddler was not by birth a criminal. No. Somewhere the circumstances made him or just compelled him to make some petty thieveries. And how did the paddler feel after robbing the crafter? Whether he was feeling very good, whether he found himself that he was just feeling proud on his smartness. What course did he adopt? And how did he react to the new situation? Because he's just going to enter into the new situation, and whether this new situation will be helpful to him. And what does his reaction reveal? So all these things you have to define in an answer. Okay, students? So I think that you understood today's topic. Thank you.